Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I have something different to share. A while ago I asked you if you would be interested to see how I painted these bird illustrations with gouache paints. Yeah, and then finally I was able to finish the video and so I can share it today. I've printed 4 birds as a reference photo because I am not able to paint a bird blind from just my brain. So I'm using a reference and I play with the Arteza Gouacha Paints. I picked 3 different colors so I can layer them on top of each other. I'm mixing the gouache paints with a little bit of water until I have the feel that the consistency is right. And I'm working also in the Arteza watercolor journal. The watercolor journal from Arteza has pretty nice paper in it. I love the rough pages. They are great for watercolors. The other side of the papers is very smooth, and I think it doesn't work with watercolors because the color soaks into the paper immediately and then it stays there. You are not able to move the paint after it's in the paper. So for the smoother sides, I'm using either gesso or I paint, for example, with gouache paints. That works really nice. I was inspired for this painting because of a class I watched on SKILLSHARE. It is a gouache class, but the artist doesn't explain very much about the paints or about the process. She is just painting. And it was very inspiring. She doesn't paint birds in this class, but she painted some cats and I believe also some fruits. I can't remember at the moment because it's already some weeks ago. After I've watched some classes on SKILLSHARE, I got an email from them and they asked me if I would like to give a coupon code for a 2-month free trial to my followers, and of course I said yes, and you will find the coupon code and also the link to the site where you can enter the code in my description box. I really do recommend SKILLSHARE when you want to improve your painting or drawing skills. They have excellent watercolor classes and also drawing classes. I watched some of the watercolor classes recently because I wanted to learn how to paint watercolor flowers, and I was really happy with it and I had a lot of fun. For the birds here, I'm starting with my pink gouache paint and I just paint what I'm seeing. I mean, I look for the easiest shapes of the birds and then I sketch them with the paint and fill them in. This is something that you can learn when you practice daily. It's really important to do this every day and regularly because only then your brain will connect to your fingers and it will become really easy to draw simple shapes, and every complex thing you want to draw is made from simple shapes. So finally you can draw anything. When the first layer is completely dry, I go in with my next color. I'm using my references just a little bit to see where I maybe add a darker color, and I sometimes just look what I would like to have. It's not so important that the birds look like on the reference. It should just be an illustration, and when it's done you can maybe scan it to the computer and separate the birds and make some printables out of them. If you don't know what gouache paint is, it's kind of in between watercolors and acrylics. You have to keep in mind that it's finally a watercolor, but it's a chalky watercolor. It doesn't have the plastic finish of acrylic paint. It has more a chalky finish, and that's what I really like. And when you thin it down with water, it has a gorgeous flow. It's almost like watercolor, just opaque and not transparent. I really enjoy playing with gouache paints, and I really love the Arteza ones, but I can't compare them to any other brand because I don't have any other gouache paint at home. It's pretty new on my channel that I'm sharing some of my painting projects, such as these birds or the girl portraits I did a week or two ago. I would be really interested if you like to watch the videos or if you prefer that I just stay with my mixed media, art journaling, or card making videos. One thing I also recognized while I was playing with the gouache paints, that you need a much more detailed brush for those in comparison to watercolors, because the color is not as fluid as watercolor is, and so your brush is more thick, and so you can paint the details with the same size that you could do this with watercolors. So you have maybe to search for some smaller brushes when you start painting in gouache. I'm using normal watercolor brushes for these because the paints are water soluble and you get your brush clean very easy. I am not sure if I'm working in the right way with gouache paints because I didn't watch a real tutorial about these paints. I just paint and explore. What I'm doing is I'm sketching out the shape and then fill it in. Of course, you can use a pencil and sketch your shape with the pencil first. This helps a lot when you are not practicing daily, or when you just start with drawing, or if you start with a new subject. I have made birds for a few weeks now, and it's always a image I like to draw, and I often did this in the past, so I am feeling very comfortable with sketching birds, so I don't use any pencil here. Finally, I add in a lot of details to my birds. I add some patterns with a lighter color. In this case, I'm using white, and that's what I also really enjoy about gouache. You don't have to think first where you want to have highlights. You can add the highlights as your last step. This is something that doesn't work when you work with watercolors. Finally, I finished the birds up with some patterns. I'm creating dots or circles or little dabs. I don't have everything of this on this video because it would have become too long. Beneath the white color, I will also use the pink pearl metallic color from the gouache paints, and this also adds a nice touch to the birds. This was my video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are a little bit inspired now, and I hope we see us next time. Bye!